and it's pulling in stuff because of your geolocation where you may be at and trying to hyper personalize, and it's trying to do that at scale. Is that enough? Is that what we're looking at in terms of the difference between scaling an AI SDR bot to message out versus the traditional SDR and doing it the old-fashioned way?
Anytime an email goes out from like an automated system, Google and Microsoft Barracuda, these email providers, they have a tag which can say detect an API versus not, which basically means that if you have a system, what ends up happening is you get tagged as spam immediately. Your deliverability gets tagged by 90%. The modern
selling podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Modern Selling Podcast. And today we're going to be talking all about this hot topic called AI SDRs. Are they real? Does it work? Can we use them? We're going to find out today with my friend Gaurav Bhattacharya, who is the CEO of Jeeva AI, an AI SDR bot, of which we use here at Vengreso. And I said, I got to get my man G on the phone here. So G, welcome to the show, my man.
Oh, Mario, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you having me here. It's such a pleasure. So excited for today.
Excited to be with you and excited to get some conversation wrapped around the AI SDR. But before we get started, what I want you to do is just tell us a little bit about yourself, tell us about Jeeva, and then I've got a special question I want to ask you.
Yeah, Mario. So I'll give a quick background about myself. We live in Los Angeles here. A little bit about me. I grew up in New Delhi, so I moved here. But grew up in a very simple, humble, blue collar family. I actually lost my dad to cancer when I was 2, but I was such a nerdy kid. I just started learning how to code when I was 10 years old. I built my first video game at 12, and at about 17, so I started my first company. So I started a startup, which was in the healthcare space, and well, it was all about AI. We were writing kind of the old school machine learning models, and we ran that company for about 9 years and had a profitable exit, completely bootstrapped. Then I moved to the US and always wanted to start a company here and build the next, multi-billion dollar company. Believe it or not, like I was always like fascinated by how big Apple, Microsoft, and the impact these companies had. So have been trying to chase an idea that could be as big as these guys, and that's kind of what brought me to the US, and that's what I'm trying to do here. A little bit about Jeeva. Idea is very simple. We actually pivoted into this, Mario. You know our story, but we had a very different product and idea. Our idea was we're actually going to take customers' data and try to build a automated customer success platform, almost some intelligent platform that can predict churn and upsells and cross sells, and that's kind of what we focused on. But the challenge we faced over that business was a lot of the data is so everywhere for customers. We almost became a data cleaning company, and we were almost running out of money, Mario, when we went to our board and we were like, "Hey, we're out of ideas. We're actually thinking of starting something else. Here's your money back." And the board was like, "No, you know what? You guys should just keep going. We'll back you." And we had built Jeeva internally, and we actually called it R2D2 because we literally had no money left for our business, Mario, and we were on a shoestring budget where we try to automate as much as possible, especially around sales. And I basically wanted to wake up as a founder, have my calendar packed, and just try to sell as many deals as possible so we can keep this business alive. And then when we pivoted, we basically pivoted into this idea, and that's kind of our story on how we started Jeeva.
Fantastic. I love that. And a little bit of background around Jeeva. What do you guys do? Who do you target?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mario. So basically, what we're building is we believe that anything that doesn't require deep human connection, like us connecting right now, strategic thinking, brainstorming, we don't think AI can do that. But manual, repetitive work can be done better, faster, cheaper with AI. So what we're trying to do is we basically have like sticky notes of all the stuff that salespeople and sellers have to do that's manual. We're just trying to chip away at that and automate as much as possible so that the only thing left is like having a great discovery call, doing a great demo, carrying out the sales cycle, and closing the deal. And we're starting off with sales. So it's kind of like an agent that can help you automate a lot of your sales tasks. And then eventually the goal is to expand into customer success and marketing and other functions of the go to market area, basically. So that's what we do. A good target for us is actually a non-SaaS, like non-tech company. We're really going after like financial services, healthcare services, these big companies that have a lot of inefficiencies built in, and we're trying to chip away at a lot of manual work that can be automated there.
Fantastic. We've been using Jeeva as well, as you know, and we're excited to continue using you guys and growing out our base of business too. Let's before we get into some content, I always ask all my guests a very special question. I'm looking for something juicy, and that is, tell us something nobody knows about you, G, even if they're looking at any or all of your social profiles.
Okay, so something super weird about me, Mario, is like I love eating eggs, and so when I was a kid growing up, me and my brother we actually created an egg stand, and we grew up very poor, right? So we wanted to kind of pay for like our school and stuff. So my brother was older than me; he was super entrepreneurial. Loved eating eggs, so he was like, we literally had an egg stand where we would make eggs and bread sandwich and sell it on the street, and then and that actually was super popular. We ran it for several years, paid for college with it. But what people don't know about me is like I own anything to do with egg sandwich. Like I own those domains. I own it in like 13 different languages. Like that's like a weird thing I have is like once I make a lot of money or at any point in my career, if I'm moderately successful, I literally want to do this for a living where I want to like build like a egg sandwich shop or like a some kind of like online where you can order egg sandwiches. So super weird. I don't know what it is, but I love eating eggs and that's something that probably no one knows about me.
Okay, well, the domain thing got me going, right?
Oh.
All the
Right?
different domains that you have about egg something combination.
Exactly.
Right, tell me if you own eggsandwich.ai.
Someone took it, and the AI stuff is wild, right? I feel like it as soon as the .ai domains were bought, there were people like just buying those in bulk. That's crazy. Did you hear that story about Dharmesh, like the CTO of HubSpot? So he bought chat.ai from like very early, super early. I think he paid like a few $100s or whatever. And but he recently sold it for $13 million in OpenAI stock back to OpenAI. So like, and even that's a steal. I think it could have been like 50 million because ChatGPT is obviously so big, but he just like did a favor and sold it to Sam Altman. But the crazy part is this guy at HubSpot, the CTO of HubSpot, he basically owns like something like 1.3 million domains. So he's like the biggest domain hoarder. That's something that somebody was telling me. I don't know if it's true, but he definitely owns a lot of domains. I don't know if it's 1.3 million, but that was pretty wild.
That's a lot of domains to own. I wouldn't be surprised, but that's the ideation that's happening in someone's brain there, and combinations of what people might want as a future product.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what he's thinking. He's like a parking spot for all of the ideas that's going on in his head.
My guess is if he has 1,000,000 domains that he spent roughly about a couple $1,000,000 on all those things. So maybe the one sale that he made to Sam Altman for chat.ai actually made up for all those domains.
That I totally agree. I totally agree.
I love it, man. Well, let's get into some content here. We've got sales leaders, we've got sales reps, we've got marketers listening in, and this whole topic around the AI sales development rep, the AI SDR. First, let's talk about AI SDR. How does it differ from a traditional SDR?
Yeah. So Mario, what the way that we position ourselves and I truly believe this, I do not think that AI SDRs or AI sales reps are ever going to replace real SDRs or real sales reps. So that is my again like there's a lot of folks who are going out there. I don't know if you've seen this company in the Bay Area has super sleazy marketing. They basically have like replace your SDRs. Like John's not gonna like my AI SDR will not show up hungover to work. They're not going to take weekends off, right? All that seemed very BS to me because I genuinely believe that AI is not at that point when it can actually replace a human being. It can augment it. Like there's a code which I read online some time ago. I don't know if you've seen this, but it said AI is not going to take your job, but people using AI would. And I agree with that. Like that's something I can buy, and everything else is bull according to me. I feel that's what I would buy in, and that's what we're trying to do is like we're trying to make tools, and these tools that instead of making you like 2x like 0.25% more productive, right? Let's say if I use Salesforce maybe as a rep, instead of like if I can close one deal a day, maybe I can close 1.25 deals a day. I'm making something up, but I'm 25% more productive. But can AI actually help you be 2 times more productive or 3 times more productive? And that's what's really exciting. And that's kind of the edge that we are trying to provide and trying to build for our customers. So the hype around AI SDRs to actually replace SDRs, I don't buy it. I don't sell it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's like a world, at least for the next 20, 30 years, where reps and AI work together, and reps can be like 5 times more powerful because people are still buying stuff. Until people stop buying stuff and it's all algorithmic, that's not going to ever change. People are going to buy from people they like, and that's not going to change. So that's kind of what my belief is. Now, talking about what AI SDRs can do and take some time away from like BDRs, SDRs, and sales reps is reps spend a lot of time, number one, in prospecting, in finding the right leads, finding the right data, even finding the right email addresses. There's so much like change that's happening in business all the time. Like, can you find the right contact information? Can you enrich that data? Can you do research on the company as much as possible? Can you take that and write something simple, concise, personalized? Even that takes so much time that if we can automate it, so imagine a world where a sales rep wakes up in the morning and AI is like, hey, John, I found you 50 leads that you haven't touched. Like these are like from Salesforce or these are leads that you haven't talked to before. They don't exist in your Salesforce. They fit your ICP. Here's all the research on them. And by the way, I've crafted like 7 LinkedIn messages, 5 call scripts, and 3 personalized emails based on all the research I did on Perplexity, on Google. I looked at like their press release. I looked at like earnings reports from this company, and this is all the data. And here's what I've compiled it into. And then the rep just wakes up and says, proofread, edit, send, proofread, edit, send, helping with follow-ups, helping with tasks. I think that's a world that can truly help reps get rid of some of the manual repetitive work so that the majority of the time reps are spending are maybe making the best quality dials and phone calls, or maybe just having great discovery calls, doing great demos. And that's kind of what we are trying to provide with Jeeva, Mario.
And just walk people through the components of what Jiva does, right? I know I use it on a daily basis, but just give an idea to the sales reps and our leaders that are listening in. Where exactly does Jiva come into play, and where exactly do what exactly do you guys do?
Oh, absolutely. And what I want to one thing I want to do is like people don't know this, but Mario is like our biggest champion because he's given us like at least 7 to 9 hours of quality feedback, which people don't know about this. But Mario is actually like we used the product and found all the bugs and all the issues and all the changes. So a lot of the product has been shaped because of him. So I want to just like do a public shout out to you, man. Thank you
Bro,
so
that's
much.
too much weight you're putting on me because I know I'm causing your team stress, man. I'm causing them stress.
At all, not at all. We need it. So talking about Mario, exactly what we do, we build this solution in a way that you can number one find good quality data, and on the back end, I'm sure you've seen tools like Clay. Like we don't have as deep of enrichment and as deep of data finding, but that's what we're trying to bring together with AI and making it super simple. Where in Clay you have to build all the waterfalls and if you do all the cool stuff, we're just trying to make it says that hey, we're going to try our best and give you the best data possible. We're going to go source through multiple channels. We're going to connect on the back end with multiple APIs. We're going to find good leads and good ICP targets for you. And then a way for you to automate it where every morning you wake up, we'll find 10, 20, 50, 100, whatever kind of automation you choose, we're going to find those leads for you. The second thing that the AI does is then it does deep research on those leads. It can go and look, we use something called Perplexity, which is like a really cool like ChatGPT competitor, but we partner with them. We go find information about that person, about that company as detailed as possible. And then we can do a sequence directly within the platform. So everything from first email, pause for a few days, send a second personalized email, pause for a few days, maybe add them on LinkedIn, add a follow-up connection request, do a third email. And then in the future, we can potentially add text messages or voicemail drops that we're working on too. But the goal is like from finding good data to personalized outreach, all the way to then enrolling those contacts back into your Salesforce or HubSpot system so that everything's in a single place instead of you buying a lead finding tool, a lead management tool, then a prospecting tool, then using AI on the top. We're just trying to combine it in a simple, single, unified platform, and that's kind of what it does so far. What we are trying to go towards is more agentic flows where you can actually do stuff in natural language. You can actually prompt the system. It's still like upcoming, but that's kind of where we are trying to get to. But that's what the system is as of today, Mario.
Fantastic. I appreciate you giving some details around that. Well, talk a little bit about there's a lot of hype around AI and the SDR today, and whether or not it's truly revolutionizing the way sales teams operate. Is more email, more LinkedIn connection requests through an automated bot a better way? So talk a little bit about that in terms of, the hype, whether or not it's revolutionizing the way sales teams work, whether or not it actually does work.
Yeah. It Mario, I actually don't think it revolutionizes yet on how sales team works. And I think you and I've had very detailed discussions around this. I have some hypotheses that I want to share, and that kind of is almost like counterintuitive to like what how we are positioning or we are selling. But the way that we're saying this is our platform is going to be like an agentic platform that's going to work with the reps, not replace them. And I'll tell you why. Because the couple of things is all of these providers, Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, they want to stop spam from happening. Okay. And this is something that I've never shared before. And I think like if my competitors listen to this, they probably will get some of our secret sauce on kind of stuff that we're building. But anyways, I'll just give it to them. What's happening, Mario, is anytime an email goes out from like an automated system, no matter if it's written by AI, no matter if it was the world's most personalized content, no matter if it was like written for that person, all the spam words were removed. If it goes through from an API, Google and Microsoft Barracuda, these email providers, they have a tag which can say detect an API versus not, which basically means that if you have a system, whether it's Outreach or SalesLoft or Seamless or Apollo or you name the automated outreach systems, right? Like any outreach, even the older ones or the newer ones, right? Could be 11x, could be Artisan, could be AI SDR. What ends up happening is you get tagged as spam immediately. Your deliverability gets tagged by 90%. This is something that's happening. Everyone knows about this, but people don't understand like why it's happening. So what ended up happening is there's tools like Instantly and other tools, which basically was like they started selling you domains and warm-ups and kind of have like multiple domains. And we kind of offered that as a service for a long time too, because we were like, that's the way to solve this problem. But the only way to solve this problem, Mario, is to manually send emails, which means that it's impossible. And the LinkedIn's going to do the exact same thing, and calling is going to be the exact same thing. You actually can't have an AI dialer place 1,000 calls at a time. You're going to get marked as spam pretty quickly. So these channels that are like the most common channels for outreach cannot be automated with an AI. You need a human in the loop to actually send the content, send the message, which automatically I can tell you the only then the white space remains to kind of automate some of the creation of the content. But you actually need a person, and there's a barrier of how many emails can go out, how many LinkedIn messages can go out, how many calls can be made by an actual person. So that's what's happening. So for that reason alone, I feel that these AI SDRs would not actually replace human SDRs, and their claim is completely false in my personal opinion. So, um, I don't know if that makes sense, but that was my rant for for the market here.
No, I appreciate that. I think one of the challenges that we're seeing is um, more is not better. um, but hyper personalized is. But I think one of the also the other challenges that we're seeing is you've got the AI SDR bot, if you would, and you put in a variable as an example where it's like I'm calling on you, G, in Los Angeles, and it's like, hey, I hope the Lakers are going to do well tonight at the game, right? And it's pulling in stuff because of of your geolocation where you may be at, and trying to hyper personalize, and it's trying to do that at scale. Is that enough? Is that what we're looking at in terms of the difference between scaling an AI SDR bot to message out versus the traditional SDR and doing it the old-fashioned way?
Sure. No, absolutely, Mario. I think deep research. There's a lot of people who talk about how like deep research is not as good. The AI does like really bad job of like personalization. It's very shallow. It's like, oh, you like skiing? I like skiing, and it does some of that. I believe that that part will be automated. Like I truly believe, and I started my career as an SDR. I've made like like 100 cold calls every single day, 365 days a year. So like when I talk about this, like I've all, and as a founder, you're like the first SDR, right? Like you're getting you're sourcing the deals. So having done that, I truly believe that the ability to do deep research on a contact in a company and write meaningful messages and kind of come up with an angle and a pitch, and that will be automated. It's not there yet, but it's not that it's like 5 years away. It's probably like 60 days away or 90 days away or maybe 120 days away of it being so good that like even the best SDR who basically does tons of research, watches a YouTube video, then pulls out like some content from like how that prospect basically like lost their mother when they were, oh, I'm making something up, right? Like when they were this much old, and or like came up with this crazy idea at 9:13 minutes, and then they personalize it. I think AI can do all of that stuff. So I truly believe that part can be done with AI. I don't think the part of like the human connection stuff and like actually when you get on the phone and talk to them, I don't think AI will replace that.
Fair enough. And if you look at some of the common myths just about AI and sales in general, what are some of those myths and what are some of the real truths behind that? But before you answer that question, we're going to take a listen to this message from our program sponsor.
Imagine having the power to identify companies visiting your website, track their behavior in real time, and seamlessly integrate it all with your CRM. Leadfeeder is not just a tool, it's your secret weapon for efficient and targeted lead engagement. What sets Leadfeeder apart? It's the ability to provide detailed insights into visitor behavior, helping your sales team prioritize efforts and close deals faster. With customizable notifications and lead scoring, Leadfeeder is changing the game. Ready to revolutionize your approach to leads and deals? Head over to leadfeeder.com for your free demo today. That's LeadFeeder.com. Leadfeeder.com. Don't miss out on the future of successful lead generation with Leadfeeder.
All right before that break, I was going to have you answer a very unique question. Why don't you go ahead and take a crack at it?
Yeah, sure. And another super cool question. I feel, Mario, there's truly edges. Like there's like edge to automating some of the manual work that companies can gain, and I'm seeing that like one company that I'm a huge fan of is this company called Ramp, and they were like super early. I was actually talking to the CEO some time back, and we had a great conference where he said that when they were like 13 or 20 people, they actually started using, even before ChatGPT, they started using the OpenAI scripts to personalize messages, and they said that 90% of their pipeline were sourced by their 20-person SDR team, and they grew from like 1 million to 500 million in ARR in like 5 years or 3 years or something like crazy. Like their growth was like one of the fastest growths with a very small team, and they were the power users of AI. So I think there is edge on being the cutting kind of side of like what's happening in AI today and how teams can use it. What it doesn't replace, Mario, is the human creativity of like what is working, what's not working. Let's go try different things. Like I think that part AI cannot do for you. Like if things are not working on email, like how do we go attack a different channel? How do we go change our messaging? How do we change our ICP? Okay, financial services are not buying this, or tech companies are saturated, so we got to go after a different ICP. AI cannot do that for you. I think like you need smart leaders, you need good people on the ground, you need good SDRs, good reps to basically come up with different ideas, and then you can use AI to fast forward it, right? So that's what I feel can be done very quickly. For example, you like for example for Mario, for us, even we use this in a way that we were like 6 months ago, we had this hypothesis, like we want to test this idea of like AI sales reps. Like, can we actually have like AI agents? Can we go to market with this? Because we had no product market fit, we had no product, we had no money left in the bank almost. And literally, like, what would have taken us 3 years to come to this point, it took 6 months of using AI, because we built our website with AI in a single day. I used ChatGPT for all the messaging, all the different tests, doing deep research, coming up with topics and content. Then we were pretty quickly able to create sales decks. I think it took us 3 days to come up with all the content, maybe case studies, put like different verbiage out there, put some emails out there, put some LinkedIn messages out there, get a ton of meetings, validate our hypotheses. Whatever would have taken us a year probably got compressed down to 1 month or 2 months. So I think that's where the true edge is, like in coming up with the new hypotheses, testing it quickly, getting it to market quickly, will be done better, faster, cheaper with AI. And then I think there's like small edges that you can gain throughout the process, and it all adds up. I feel like a 20% team, that is a sales team, that is heavily using AI, that's heavily using Fly Message, that's heavily using Jeeva, heavily using maybe Chat GPT, or right, like whatever the new kind of new cool stuff that out there is, they're gonna be they're gonna be as productive as 100% team. And that's happening today. I don't think that's a myth.
So talk a little bit about how an SDR using AI, or an AI powered SDR, can create uh, better customized messages for potential clients, or address the challenge of personalization in sales outreach, which is a major problem. And I'm seeing so many, like, hey, I see the Warriors are doing, not too well, or they traded someone, and you're like, what? Or hope the weather is good in San Francisco. And I'm like, really? Like, and so talk a little bit about how can this, how is it going right now, and how can it change?
Yeah, it's going to change pretty quickly, Mario. I'll tell you kind of why these kind of messages come up, and why it will get better pretty quickly. And I'm laughing because I was a power user of this, Mario. So before we even started this system and how we built Jiva, the way that we were doing this is we basically would scrape the LinkedIn profile, right? So there's tools like Proxy Curl, there's other ones which kind of get information about a person from their LinkedIn profile. It's super cheap. It costs like a cent or 2 cents, so you can actually get that information. And then I'm almost talking as if I'm a software engineer. So I'll tell you like how I built this, and then why you're seeing these kind of personalized messages. So the way that the initial system was built, Mario, is what we did to test out Jiva was we basically got Mario's info. For example, let's say if I'm prospecting to you, I got as much information about you from your LinkedIn, and then what I would do is because AI was not smart enough, it didn't have the context windows to write whole messages, and whole messages are expensive. So what we would do is we would do personalized lines. So I would write like a restaurant line. For example, I would see like where Mario is located, and then I would pass that location and say, write a line like this, which is like, hey Mario, I saw that you're in San Francisco, or like you're close to Noe Valley. Have you tried Tandoor India, which is like a new Indian restaurant that just opened there? So it would look for like new restaurants, it would look for like stuff, and it would be a super cheap message. And then I'm going to insert that in my email and then send it and blast it. That was like the original growth hacking that these AI as like the AI hackers were using, and that's what I was using. And then the first kind of the product that came out with it was personalized lines. So you could drag and drop different lines, which is like a restaurant line, a city line. You could say like, hey, sports span line, and that's basically what all these tools, like including us, and then instantly, and all these guys started using basically, and that's what's in the market right now, and that's basically why you see like these very shallow kind of personalization options. Okay, so that's the option one. The second version to that whole sequence now is hyper personalized messages, where what you do, Mario, is like you train the system. Now the context windows are bigger, everything is bigger, the AI has more thoughtful thinking, you also have reasoning models. What you do is you basically give it examples of your company, what kind of messages have worked in the past, what is my history, what kind of brand message do I talk about, what's my tonality, what blah blah blah, right? You train it, and you can train it on your company information, and then you can train it on as much information about the prospect. So you can now, if as an example, if I uh, want to prospect someone at Airbnb, I can then look for Airbnb's earnings report. I can look for, I can create a summary of like where this person went to school, what did they talk about, where do they live, what is exciting for them, any topics on any webinars they've done, any podcasts they've done. Then I can look at Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb. What was he talking about? Where was he last? What is important for them? then you can pass all that information to the AI and say, here's as much information about me. Here's as much information about the Joe Gebbia person from Airbnb that I want to reach out to. Here's as much information about Airbnb. Here's the angles I want you to pitch. Now go create 3 hyper-personalized sequences for me. So that's what's coming. I still feel it's not there yet, but the quality of the emails are going to be much better, Mario. So the emails that you're going to see coming out of AI very soon, and then once we do this, everyone's going to follow, right? Everyone's going to do this soon. But what it's going to do basically is going to be like, hey Mario, it's going to talk like a really cool angle. It's basically like, hey Mario, I came across your profile because I was actually like watching a webinar that you did recently, and I'm really inspired about how your operational expertise, right, from what you learned in your last company, scaling it to like 100 million in ARR. That's how you got the idea of Fly Message, and I'm very impressed on how you're building it. Now, having said that, like here's like 1 second pitch on what we do. Would this be interesting? And then everything after that would be super personalized. It's going to be deeper. It's going to be the right angle. It's not going to be these fluff personalizations. That's going to go away. And I think that's coming pretty soon.
Very interesting here in terms of what you guys are doing and where you think the market is going. Um, Curious. Um, I think I heard your answer. I just want to ask it directly. Can an AI SDR effectively replace a human SDR? And if not, why? If so, why?
Okay. I'll give a very realistic answer and then what I truly feel. I also I truly feel, Mario, that what's gonna happen is in the next 10 years, there's gonna be more SDRs and more sales reps than ever. And I have some reasonings around it, and for a couple of reasons. One is I think AI is going to get more and more powerful, and it's not there to replace SDRs yet. It might be there in like 10 years. I don't think it's going to be there next year. It's going to take a lot of time for it to be operationalized and actually do the job of a human being. Even the lot of the hype around AI is around customer service, but we haven't seen like AI replace customer service reps yet. Like maybe it's making it better, but the bots are not replacing the service reps yet, right? I think it's going to take many years to do that. Maybe the service reps are first going to use AI, get super good. Maybe the second wave or the third wave or the fifth wave is kind of when it gets affected. Sales is even harder because sales is a lot about soft skills, and until people are buying from people, I don't think that's going to go away. The other thing is the technology kind of things I was talking about. So as an example, I'm a software engineer, so I can talk about this, right? So let's say if I'm a software engineer and if I have to code and machines generating code for me, I can keep injecting like this kind of code inside my this. But as soon as it comes to like selling, you need like email services are going to get smart. They're going to block AI content. We're going to have LinkedIn blocking content. You cannot actually spin up bots that are reaching out on your behalf. You can AI calling is not going to be that effective. So I don't think technically you can't actually replace an entire 50% BDR SDR team with just bots. I think what's going to happen is you might take the 50% team and make them a 10% team using AI and be very effective. I think that's like a more realistic scenario of like what teams might be doing. Or what might be happening is you can give all those 50 people, right, like AI, and maybe you don't need to hire 50 more, or you don't need to hire 200 more. And I think that's like a more realistic future that I see happening.
So, if we think about like improving efficiency, that's one of the words that you talked about, productivity, efficiency of a sales team. How does the role of AI play in improving and scaling sales process, sales efficiency, sales productivity?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I feel, Mario, there's a few things that are coming that are really exciting for me. I feel that a couple of things is um you can use AI to kind of do all the prep work and the research of whatever is needed to either find prospects, get a lot of leads and get good discovery calls and demos, or to prep for meetings or have these angles that you can go after these teams for. I think that's where AI could be really effective. So imagine a world where what I see in a world, let's say if there's I'm going to think about a start of my scale. I think the world's going to look like where I have 2 SDRs, BDRs, and 2 sales reps. And for a team my size, let's say like a small company, 10 employees, 20 employees, right? Like, let's say a startup. Obviously, you can scale this proportionally. So the old world would be that you have like one SDR that's probably sourcing and getting you 2 to 3 qualified meetings a week. The rep takes the meeting. They are trying to close 1 to 2 deals a month. That's basically like the regular world. The quota for a rep could be anywhere from, in a SaaS world, $500,000 to $1 million based on their on target earnings and all that stuff, right? So that's one world where I see the current existing stack being. Now, you replace this with AI, and I think it gets really interesting. So, what I feel with AI is going to happen is a couple of SDRs and BDRs can have a system which is AI powered that has multiple things, and it's much cheaper. So, a small team probably cannot afford 6 cents, right? They probably cannot afford like some of these really crunch based insights. I'm making something up, obviously. These are great tools, right? No diss on them, but they're expensive tools, and small teams don't have the capacity to kind of get all this. But let's say there's an AI powered system that has everything, that has finding leads, enrichment of data. They have signals built in where you can look for keywords in your industry. They also have inbound and intent, and they have all the signals coming in together. So imagine a BDR wakes up, AI looks through your contacts, looks through your market, looks through new development, can look for, okay, like this company is hiring for heads of sales, this company is hiring for SDRs and BDRs, this company just got promoted. Now you have a really simple way of saying these are the top 50 leads you should be reaching out to today. And why? Because these 10 companies are hiring for VPs of sales. These three companies have like VPs of like a director of sales became a VP of sales. They're hiring for BDRs, or they had someone let go, or there's like a merger and acquisition happening. Whatever your top keywords are, your top signals are. By the way, these 5 companies visited your website. These are like extra research I've done on them. Here's exact messages that can resonate with them, which would be like, hey, Mario, I saw someone from your team visit Jeeva. Here's what we do. Here's how we can help you. Or it could be like, hey, Mario, I saw that you were hiring for 13 BDRs. By the way, our AI BDR solution, I'm making something up for Jeeva, can actually help you like do more with less. You can probably hire just 5 people and save a lot of money and still get the same quality. Now, that all of that would be done and ready to go out so that the BDRs can pick up the phone and just say, okay, I'm going to call these top 10 companies, these 50 leads. The emails are ready. I'm going to send these out. LinkedIn messages are ready to go. Now, hoping that that would produce much better quality. So instead of 2 qualified opportunities that the reps were creating before, you're going to create 5 qualified opportunities. Now, 5 qualified opportunities can have like better conversions for the sales reps. Now, the sales reps in the world would be super prepared about, how to pitch them, what the angle would be. And especially with AI, as a lot of these tools are getting democratized, I think it's going to be less about, having a relationship-based sales, but it's going to be a challenger sale, right? The rep's going to get on. It's going to be like, actually, you're not doing this. You're missing out on this big opportunity. Here's how our solution can help you. It's simple. You're doing a demo on the first call, maybe a super simple qualification. So it's less about trying to do the whole MedPick stack. I think it's going to become a simple band qualification. Here's my product. Here's pricing. Everything's on. And now you're going to close more deals because you're empowering the buyer with much more information on the first call instead of like keeping them waiting and on the hook for multiple demos. So what's going to eventually happen, I do see this world happening very soon, Mario, is one rep instead of like, we call these 10x coders and they exist. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have a bunch of these 10x BDRs and 10x sales reps, and one rep is going to close like $2 million, $3 million, $4 or $5 million. And I'm seeing that in Jeeva, and I see that with some of my customers, and that's a true reality. So you don't need like 500 people to do the same job. You're going to have like less people, and they can do a lot of work and get a lot of things done. And I think that's what's going to happen. I also see a world, Mario, where full stack sales reps come back. Say we have these full stack software engineers. Same engineer can do back end, front end, can work with cloud. I do feel with AI, we can have more full stack reps, which means the rep can actually almost like the old way of doing it. Before SaaS was created, we would have a sales rep that would hunt for deals, right? You and I have been doing this for a long time. We know this, right? We will hunt for deals, we'll close the deal, then we'll even manage the relationship. And then SaaS came along, it's like, no, you need SDR, ADR, MDR, BDR, and you need like inside sales reps, outside sales rep, field sales reps, like crazy sales rep, like all these like, and then you need like onboarding specialist, implementation specialist, and now all of this is fragmented. I feel with AI, you get back to a lot of these full stack sales reps, which I think it's better for business, right? Like it's better for business leaders like us. We don't have to hire 1,500 people. We can hire like 5 really solid people who can actually do a lot more like different things instead of just specialization. So I think those are things that are coming back in my opinion.
Bro, I've really enjoyed this is such a fascinating area. Obviously, I've got deep roots into the sales and marketing space and spend a lot of time talking about the future of sales, but the whole concept around the AI SDR and AI in sales. It's pretty cool. I will say that we have made our first acquisition, which is a small one, very small one, but thank you. I appreciate that. Now we got to make it grow. But uh,
What do you guys acquire?
in our program, as you know, we've taught basically sales prospecting for the last 9 years, and we've done everything around digital. So LinkedIn, video, email messaging. That's the formula that we utilize. And the one thing that we've always been missing and that we've never touched is cold calling. And that's primarily because folks that are in the usually director and VP and above stage that, we grew up cold calling. So we teach our reps how to do that. So the piece that's been missing is the cold calling. And so now enter in the AI sales role playing or sales coaching software that actually you can do all of your cold calling directly with an AI bot. And if you think about this for a second,
Cool.
we dial 100 numbers just to get 3 people, right? But our SDRs are generally folks that are fresh out of college or 3 years, up to 3 years worth of experience. And so they have limited experience. And you've got, let's just say 100 SDRs trying to make a cold call. You don't have enough managers to sit there and actually coach each one of them. So why would you practice on live people? Why practice on live people? So what we're bringing to market is inside of Fly Message, we'll have Fly Role Play, and Fly Role Play will have the ability to be able to basically put your persona in of your target buyer, and then we will create 20 different types of personalities. The optimist, the pessimist, the friendly individual to really throw at your rep the art of learning how to have a conversation. So we've got that transcription and the technology to be able to do the role playing and then also to grade the reps. And that's like one piece that we've been missing for quite a while.
Oh, that's huge. I think that's so beneficial. I love it. I think that's going to be a massive product. I think that's like a multi-billion-dollar product in itself.
Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about that because I'm of the opinion that some of these products and technologies that they're so siloed that you can't scale that, and nobody's going to go out and buy and spend $100 per person for an AI sales coaching software. I just don't see it. I think it's part of something. So, as an example, companies like Seismic or HighSpot, they would include that inside their technology, right? And so I'm a big believer that where we're at today is you have all these companies that are popping up that are very niche, right? And they're like very siloed. But that's not what the market is demanding. The market is what they're demanding is an X and one, a 5 and one, a 6 and one, a 7 and one, where you've got one platform that can help you do multiple different things and allows you to be good enough, but not necessarily super niche like there's some great companies that are well funded like Hyperbound. Hey, if they make it, more power to them. Go for it. But no organization has the extra money to spend at $70, $50 a rep just for sales coaching. That's not what they're going to be doing. So I believe that our strategy is quite unique in that I'm going to bring that into Fly Message. I'm going to teach you how to go about engaging with your target buyer. I'm going to teach you how to do it through digital channels, and I'm going to coach you how to do it through analog channels. And then I'm going to give you the tools to be able to go and scale those activities. And that's my vision behind it. So for everybody who's listening in, this is one of those podcasts that actually I didn't speak too much because of what G's power that he brought here. I've enjoyed the whole entire discussion. I love this stuff right here, G. But let me ask you a question. If someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way? Is it on LinkedIn? Is it email? What do you think is the best way?
Yeah, so on LinkedIn, my name is Gaurav Bhattacharya. Super easy to find. There might be actually not that easy to find.
Bro,
Even
I
though
was about to say, well, bro, I don't know about that.
I thought that's a pretty unique name, but I was at an event recently. I was like, hey, just type in my name, it'll find me. And I was like the seventh person. I was like, what the f is going on? Like, who are these other Gaurav Bhattacharyas? Because right, because Mario Martinez, right? That might be a more pop. Mario is such a popular name, right? So there would be so many. So I was so surprised that there's so many Gaurav Bhattacharyas. LinkedIn, you can find me, and then also I can give my phone number too. I use WhatsApp all the time. My phone number is 424-443-8212. If someone wants to get a hold of me, WhatsApp, text, all works as well. My email is very simple. It's just g@jeeva.ai. So it's g@jeeva.ai. So if anyone wants to get in touch, please reach out anytime.
And to make sure you know the correct spelling is Gaurav Bhattacharya, Bhattacharya. And Garv, I'm going to leave you with this one last tip here, and I want you to do the LinkedIn name pronunciation. There is a quick feature if you just go and open and edit your profile. You got 10 seconds to do a name pronunciation, and use that as a 10-second advertisement. But for everybody listening in, you got to make sure you say your name first before you put your ad on there. So that way people can easily hear your name and be able to know how to say Garv and Bhattacharya.
I love it, Mario. That was great. Thanks for the tip there.
G, one last question for you, and that is your all-time favorite movie. What is it?
Ooh, Titanic. I don't know why, but I love this movie. It's like such a classic. I so when I was learning English, one of the first things I was trying is like I was watching a lot of Friends. I was watching Seinfeld. I was watching, and then Titanic is a movie I must have seen 20 times, Mario. It's crazy. And only because I was trying to learn English. So those was the popular. I started learning, people don't know this. I actually started learning English very late. I was 10 years old or 12 years old when I first started learning English. And because I started coding and everything was in English, so I wanted to learn English too. So that was really fun. And I watched Titanic a lot of times. So that's like one of my favorite movies.
Leonardo DiCaprio, there you go with Titanic. So there you have it. Thanks so much for joining. And all of you listening right now, hey, don't turn that dial quite yet. Listen to this message right now.
Thanks for listening to the Modern Selling Podcast. Please do me a huge favor and give the Modern Selling Podcast a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Oh, and don't forget, if you'd like to save 20 hours or more in a month and increase your productivity, go right now and download Fly Message, that's flymsg.io, for free. It's your free text expander and personal writing assistant. Hey, thanks for listening in, and until the next episode, good selling.
Watch out.